The Church of the Broken God worships the holiness of machinery and the god Mechane, who rules over all things. What would you do if society as we know it crumbled, humanity fell from grace, and the Church took over the world at large? Would you make your way to the Clockwork orthodoxy to upgrade your fragile meat body with some pristine machinery? What sort of changes would you make? How are you going to adapt to the new world order? We posed this question to the amazing fans of SCP Explained, and you told us all about all the ways you would upgrade your fragile human bodies to adjust to the new world. So let's get right to it and see who would rise to the challenge and please the mighty Mechane, and who would perish as a useless flesh bag. Sean Michelson said, "I would replace my left arm with nerve damage from when I broke it as a kid, and the bionic replacement would be capable of morphing into any shape necessary for the task at hand. Lockpick, axe, sword, etc. We're off to a great start here, Sean. You turning your left arm into the world's coolest Swiss Army knife sounds like a heck of an upgrade. Now that you've accepted Mechane into your heart, you'll never have to go to the hardware store again. Quick question though, what are you planning on using that lockpick for? If you're planning a heist, make sure you do it safely, and see if you can transform that arm into a sweet getaway car." Pyronaut682 said, "I always took pride in my size. If I got enhancements at all, I'd get some that would either make me a proper Goliath or a tall, gaunt, but sturdy frame. Either way, my presence would be enough to intimidate. So, how tall are we talking here? Slenderman tall? Empire State Building tall? Either way, it's admirable that in a world where you can be any cybernetically enhanced thing you want, you're choosing to just be big and scary. Hey, if it's good enough for Mechagodzilla, it's good enough for us." Ivan Piccinin said, "The most fragile and exposed part of our body are probably the eyes. A prototype might be a new model of artificial eyes that can provide an omnidirectional sight. Being of metal, they don't need to be hydrated, making the person with them having a constant view of the surroundings. It might also allow blind people to be able to see again. That is an excellent idea. You'll put the eye drop companies out of business for good, not to mention how the global glasses economy would crash. But that's a small price to pay for giving supervision to anyone who wants it. Maybe you'll even be able to see why kids love the taste of Cinnamon Toast Crunch." Kaiser Affini said, "I would seek the most advanced upgrade I can think of, one that allowed me to create a research center inside a black hole, allowing the movement of myself and anything else I designate to and from it. Distance and time are unacceptable hindrances in the project of optimizing the Omniverse. Euclidean physics only limit advanced inventions as well. We must evolve past such limitations." Well, now you're thinking outside the box. Outside of all Euclidean shapes, really. Not entirely sure what kind of upgrade would let you set up shop inside a black hole, but there's nothing wrong with shooting for the stars, or a gravitational pull strong enough to absorb the stars and snuff out their light, leaving only darkness behind. Jos Moore said, "I would attempt to integrate SCP-294 into my own body, providing limitless sustenance and a very effective weapon if used creatively. Why upgrade your body so that it no longer needs food and water when you can just stick a coffee machine in your chest and have endless mochachinos? That's a life of luxury. Plus, SCP-294 can produce non-potable liquids such as sulfuric acid and even liquid nitrogen for when you really need someone to chill. It's got everything you need, and now it's part of your body. It might be a little clunky carrying around a vending machine everywhere, but who needs to fit through doors when you can have all the banana smoothies you could ever want?" Mason Scorup said, "The skin would be interesting. I'm imagining a sleek human form, a much more aesthetically awesome kind of shield. Flexible and durable, much more resilient. Body temperature regulation would be the first issue that comes to mind. No more glands is a pretty big overhaul, as well as the fact that your skin is where all of your nerve feelers are located. Perks, no acne, body odor, splinters, or other damage. Cool lights and stuff if you want. That sleek metallic shine, potentially way upgraded physical senses, but cons, you look like a robot. You'd be pretty conductive, I guess that could also be a perk, so surroundings of extreme temperatures could pose threats. Your skin absorbs a lot of things, so that would go away as well as the microbiome on it. That would make you much more readily sterile, but could also vector diseases that jump onto your exterior more easily. And another big thing I think of is tarnishing. We don't want an Elden Ring scenario on our hands. That being said, you would absolutely kill it at any Comic-Con or drag show you went to. We should all be so lucky as to live in the future Mason has imagined. Just think of it. Throngs of beautiful robot people in line to get Robo Patrick Stewart's autograph at Comic-Con before watching a real-life Transformer performance. And all the while, no one sweats or smells? Now that's paradise on Earth right there. Xavier Rausch said, I'd personally like to get my left arm modified for a more industrial-looking one with a similar look to the Clockwork virus sort of style for my own reasons, like being able to show off my taste in industrial stuff, being able to push and carry things easier with my non-dominant hand, or even just look more proud of myself. That is what I'd do if I could get my arm all mechanized. Who said style over substance is a bad thing? Rock that new Clockwork arm and usher in a new industrial fashion craze. All the coolest mechanized kids are doing it. Muhammad Kasadria Akbar said, I always wonder what it feels like to become a toaster. Oh boy, do we have an SCP for you. Jorok404 said, human evolution would probably just be, don't need sleep, don't need food, can be quick, can learn faster, cannot kill SCP-682 because nothing can. Hey now, have a bit more faith in the fully mechanized future. If we can beat sleep, then we can take on that overgrown lizard. Maybe. Midna Arashi said, I'd probably go with a full-body prosthesis like in the anime Ghost in the Shell, with several notable changes. The arms will be transforming rifles with the option to deploy blades either Mantis style, i.e. cyberpunk, or bayonets style. As for the legs, they would extend into a form that's similar to the hind legs like that of a canine or similar animal. I'd also have cloaking and enhanced hearing and eyesight, allowing me to see objects outside of the visible spectrum and listen in on conversations that are taking place in the next room. With this setup, I'd say I'd be something like a soldier or spy, as I imagine the upkeep on a body such as this would be high and military grade. Just imagine someone with mantis blades and extending legs jumping out at you from the shadows out of nowhere, screeching in your face. I'd say that any normal person would have to clean themselves up after witnessing such a sight. You know, we've talked about a lot of terrifying things on this channel, but the idea of walking down the street after a lovely night out at the robot pub and suddenly seeing a figure leap out of the shadows, letting out an unholy screech as it brandishes its mantis blades and skitters towards you on long insectoid legs, yeah, that's going to give us nightmares for a long time. Congratulations on coming up with the scariest upgrade in the comments section. Your prize is the sheer unadulterated terror of all unlucky enough to cross your path and keeping my therapist employed. Jacob Rathbone said, definitely a robotic arm that can split into two functional arms akin to General Grievous, and ears with a voice box that can allow me to speak and understand all languages. But the problem that could arise is that my voice box could glitch and get stuck in a language or accent for a time. I think having one of my eyes replaced with an artificial eye that can read all known languages would be helpful too. Wait, hold on. You're going to put a voice box in your ears? Assuming you meant ears and a voice box that are separate, this is a pretty useful upgrade. You could travel anywhere you want without needing to bring a language dictionary or a translator. As long as you hit up the cyber pharmacy for your regular dose of antiviral software, you shouldn't have to worry about getting stuck on any one language. Make sure you let people know about your artificial eye though, so they don't think you're flirting with a wink when you're just trying to read a street sign. Shy Griff said, quite simply, I would infect myself with SCP-217, and then do what an infected D-Class did and use SCP-212. I have no idea what the resulting upgrade will be, but I will put any of my improvements to good use. Edit, I would run myself through SCP-914 on the fine setting to work out any kinks. It takes a lot of ambition to attempt to DIY your own upgrade, and there's definitely a place for that in this new world. We love the energy, but before you wind up hurting yourself with unpredictable anomalies that might wind up turning you into something unrecognizable, maybe you should put the YouTube tutorial down. Save yourself the agony and head to a certified professional instead. Tyler Tracy said, what I thought of was some kind of energy upgrade. In our fast world, allowing people's minds and hearts to run perfectly without sleep would enhance everyone's lives, completely without side effects. Sure, there is an occasional report or two saying this and that about sleepwalking or coming miles from where they had hit the hay with no memory of how it happened, but as for me, friends, I've never been better since my upgrade. get your upgrade, and be your best self. Well, this seems completely legit to me. No follow-up questions needed, especially not about the sleepwalking or waking up in strange places. That's all probably completely fine. You heard Tyler. Get your upgrade today and be your best self. Just hope you don't walk over the edge of a cliff while you're getting your 8 hours in. Chungo McChungus said, I love your name, by the way. I would have additional mechanical arms attached to myself so that I can pet so many more mechanical animals, like Furbies. They are heralds of our gear-gifting god, I'm sure of it. Maybe have an antenna on my head that causes screens to produce slight amounts of static on the picture. You know, just for fun. So, just to clarify, your plans for upgrading your limited human form in the new age of machines is getting more arms so you can pet the wild Furbies that will roam the streets and a pranking antenna. Sounds like you've got a great handle on your priorities. Chungo McChungus knows what living the good life is all about. Seth Cushman said, probably would include solar panels or some way to plug into a power source so that you can recharge energy while sleeping or something instead of eating. Also, maybe some sort of light or flashlight thing. And maybe a machine that converts CO2 back into O2. Also, this is more flesh-based, so might not apply, but maybe surgically move my brain into my chest or something somehow so that all my vital organs are in one spot, and I have just one major weak point, chest, instead of 2, chest and neck or head. Oh boy, where to begin with this one? The renewable energy and air purification are all well and good, but what happens to your neck once you move your brain into your chest? What happens to your head? Will you put your face on your chest or keep your face and head where they are, just with an empty skull and a breeze blowing in one ear and out the other? Won't your neck still be a weak point because your throat and esophagus are there and the airway could still be blocked or damaged? I have to move on to the next response before I get a headache, or as you would say, a chest ache. Nightingale said, built-in respirator. Unless part of this clockwork takeover involves switching to 100% clean energy, and seeing as you specifically name-drop the sect that has the whole steampunk thing going on, a respirator will be necessary to avoid dying of some lung disease from the increase of pollutants in the air. A very thoughtful and kind of depressing answer. Why stop there? Scrap the lungs altogether and eliminate the need for breathing at all. Then it doesn't matter how rancid the air gets. Better get rid of your sense of smell too, if we're being honest. Young Love said, literal finger gun upgrades. Replace my arms up to my elbows, and where I reload would be by putting in bullets in the base of my wrist, like putting in coins in an arcade machine, with inner workings functioning similar to a 9-round mag for a .308 hunting rifle, firing with twice as much force when shot because my replaced limbs would cycle back all of the carbon and other gases back into the chamber to make it not only louder, but deadlier, with a higher velocity to hit targets from farther away. Finger guns. Actual finger guns. Everyone you meet will be on edge. They'll never know if you're just being a cool, friendly dude or if you're about to blow their head off. They won't be able to tell until it's too late. No notes. This is just plain awesome. Cheesy Miner said, I would wish to become completely mechanical, solely for the purpose of calling anyone that still has exposed skin meatbags. That is a perfectly valid reason, and we here at SCP Explain condone any and all meatbag bullying once Mechane has become ruler of all. Laugh at them and their failing organic bodies. Oh, you've got flesh still, can't afford metal skin? Did your mom give you those internal organs? Loser. Francisco Souza said, I would have a special compartment in my wrist that stores all the methane in my body, and then release the pressurized gas and set it ablaze. It's stupid, and that's why it's perfect. This is incredible. You have the chance to change anything about yourself, and you went with weaponized farts. You're right, it is perfect, and it's a great way to embarrass your enemies mid-combat while dealing a ton of damage. Hey honey, how was the battle today? I don't want to talk about it. Oh dear, what's that smell? I said I don't want to talk about it! That's phenomenal. The Shy Puppet said, a chainsaw for a hand so that I can, quote, dispose my enemies more easily, end quote. And after a long day of horrific carnage, when you just want to curl up on the couch and relax, you can chop firewood in a snap. DwemerSmith said, eliminating individualities in the brain would cause everybody to think alike, and no one would disagree or be disloyal. Well, this is just one commenter who should never be in charge of a post-apocalyptic society. Noted. Just gonna slowly back away from this one. Atris Hayport said, I would simply have my mind uploaded to a computer. Once it's data, it can go anywhere and can be put into anything. My concern is that once I am no longer in a human body, I would lose all emotion and drive to do anything, because usually that's governed by our complex meat sacks. But if I had some sort of sliders, I could adjust everything about myself that I think would be enough. But the actual goal is to experience everything. And when there's no more universe, when I'm in space watching everything implode, give out one remaining chuckle as I put myself in an infinite dream, only to wake if the universe reignites so I can watch it. This is a pretty grand idea. But one quick question. If there's no more universe, what would happen to the computer you're stored on? It would be part of the universe, correct? Not trying to rain on your immortality parade, but the mechanics of this one, pun intended, are a bit confusing. You'll figure something out though, once you've got that superpowered data brain, probably. Prophet of the 8th Legion said, from the moment I understood the weakness of my flesh, it disgusted me. I craved the strength and certainty of steel. I aspired to the purity of the blessed machine. You can cling to your flesh as if it will not decay and fail you. Litany of the Omnissiah's Chosen. Hey everybody, the life of the party is here. Thanks for that, Prophet of the 8th Legion. It was quick, to the point, and just terrifying enough to set the tone for the rest of the day. Death to the old flesh, long live the machines. Am I right? Now go check out SCP-096, look at a picture of Shy Guy in space, the Shy Guy Questions and Theories, and SCP-049, what actually is the pestilence, the Plague Doctor Questions and Theories, for more questions and answers from the SCP Explained community.